What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called, Are You Colorblind? First post on this account, English is my first language, so flame away. Buckle up as this is a long one. So I live within walking distance of a ski resort that has a village. I ski, I eat, I have friends there, so I am there usually a few times a day at minimum, even when not skiing. One very busy Saturday morning, I was walking through the village, saying hi to friends and employees while walking so I can meet a friend for breakfast. Don't ski on a Saturday unless that is the only day you can. And am just avoiding the rental line when I hear an "excuse me" behind me. Thinking nothing of it, I just keep walking along until someone grabs my shoulder. I spin around to see this really pissed off looking Karen. Now, as skiers usually know, at most mountains all employees wear the same brand of clothing. Sometimes all the same color, sometimes 2 or 3 different colors depending on which department you work in. I'm wearing the same brand of clothing, but not in a color at this resort.
I need you to help me get my kids past this stupid rental line. They have a lesson in 20 minutes.
I don't work here, just walking to meet a friend for breakfast.
You obviously do. I saw you talking to other people who work here.
I am here a lot, so obviously I know people here, but I don't work here.
I know you do. You are wearing
clothing brand,
just like everyone else.
She grabs me.
Come help my kids.
I pull away. Get your hands off me, bench. I do not work here. Find someone who does, but I doubt anyone would want to help a bench like you. It's your fault you got here so late, no one else's. I walk away.
I'm going to find a manager and get you fired, you freaking dookie sphincter.
Good luck with that. I'll be at restaurant if you want to humiliate yourself further. Everyone in line was looking at her. I walk off towards my destination and run into a friend who works at the mountain rushing in that direction. Hey friend, what's going on over there? Sounds like someone's angry. Yeah, some woman thought I worked here and went off on how she's gonna get me fired because I won't help her. I'm sure she'll be looking for a manager. I would avoid her at all costs. Probably a good idea. Let a boss deal. Friend heads back to where he's supposed to be handing out trail maps and answering questions, about 300 feet from Lady. I head in and get 2 bar stools for me and my buddy. We get coffee and breakfast and are catching up. About 30 minutes after sitting down while we're eating breakfast, I hear,
"Over there, that's him."
Karen comes over, grabs my shoulder again, and spins my bar stool, spilling the coffee I'm drinking all over mine and my friend's breakfast. She's there with the manager of security, whose kid happens to be besties with my middle kid.
This is the rude poop shoot who wouldn't help me. You need to get him fired.
Me, staring daggers straight into her eyes. Wait for it. I did actually say this. He doesn't work here. He lives here.
Well, you should ban him for being so rude and calling me a bimbo.
If the shoe fits, you are the one who should be banned from here. You have grabbed me 3 times now. The 3rd time, you ruined mine and my friend's breakfast. You really are a bimbo. This totally set her off. She was spouting that she was here on vacation and deserved respect for all the money she was spending for her family. No, we don't like to ban people here. This is a place where everyone should be having fun. Now, if you pay to replace the breakfast and calmly leave, we can all just go about our days. This guy's super chill.
There is no way I am paying for anything for someone who called me a bench.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask you to leave our property immediately.
I can't do that. I have to wait for my husband and kids to finish skiing.
That is not an option. You need to leave now. This is private property.
This is not private property and I am not leaving.
Manager of security moves dial on radio. I need you to come to restaurant.
Oh, are you calling some buddies? I see how this works. You are all just friends here, aren't you? You just all hate tourists. I pay your salary.
In walk 2 of the local sheriff deputies. They always have a couple at the mountain on the weekends in case of accidents, drunks, etc. They are not usually needed this early in the morning. They walk up to manager of security and he explains his story.
They are all lying. They're all friends and just protecting each other.
I saw her grab him. You can also watch it on the security camera if you want. You grabbed him?
I only grabbed his shoulder to get his attention.
3 times. With a total poo-eating grin on my face. Grabbing someone with intent is assault. Would you like to press charges? Actually, yes, I would. Karen starts screeching as they grab her and cuff her up. Luckily, she didn't put up too much of a fuss. I was going to decide to drop the charges after I watched her get perp walked through the village. So, with the bartender holding our seats and the kitchen remaking our breakfast, which would be 15 to 20 minutes, my buddy and I followed the 2 sheriffs and Karen getting walked in cuffs through the village, with thousands of people watching. Busy weekends, we would get at least 10,000 skiers or boarders. The restaurant and where the sheriffs park are on almost opposite ends, so we had to pass the rental shop. Cue new character. Cool dad. You're the guy from earlier. What happened? I explained the situation and told him I was waiting until she was in the sheriff's SUV to tell the sheriff I had changed my mind on pressing charges. I told him she really needed a lesson and hopefully this would be a good one. He asked where I was going to be after he got his kids to their lesson. Late. We told him. I walked over and let the sheriff know I changed my mind and would not be pressing charges, and anything else is between him and manager of security. Buddy and I headed back to the restaurant, and shortly afterwards, Cool Dad shows up. I cannot apologize enough for my wife. I remember this verbatim. When one little thing does not go right, the world has to pay. Not just me, my kids, but the whole world. You guys want a drink or a shot? I sure as hell need one. So, a couple of bloodies and shots later, my buddy and I had become friends with Cool Dad. Turns out, Karen doesn't even like skiing and just sits reading a book while he and his 2 kids ski. But always insists on coming to the mountain with her shoes, really expensive, ski clothing to look the part. The reason Karen was on a warpath and they were late to the mountain? She couldn't find her favorite hat at the condo that morning. I ran into him and his kids later that week and did some laps with them, and they took me and my 2 kids to lunch. Whole family was cool, except for Karen. Man, I always wanted to grow up in a ski community because that just seems really cool. My dad and I used to go skiing every single weekend at this place called Monarch Ski Resort in Colorado. That was so much fun. Anyways, back to the story. This Redditor guy was pretty cool, and you know what, I really admire how he managed to make friends with the family despite, the wife being insufferable. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever met someone that you didn't like, but you ended up being friends with their family, That's always a cool thing to hear about. This story's called Stop Hitting Me. I still don't know why I used to get mistaken for an employee like crazy in the past. I looked nothing like an employee, let alone an approachable person. I was depressed and looked gaunt, not clean, smelled, constantly in pajamas. The amount of times it happened was ridiculous for my state of well-being, but nothing bad ever really happened from it, except that one time. I was at a Goodwill with my family and took a break on a couch. The Goodwill dress code is very specific, wearing all black, blue apron, lanyard, clothes that cover everything. Sneakers, pants, not shorts, etc. So here I am, sinking into a couch in the furniture area, on my phone, in a gray dress and sandals, with no apron, gaunt as hell, when an older woman approached me with a blanket and a clear case for it. I would normally help people anyways, but this lady was speaking to me in broken English and Armenian, the latter which I barely understand. This is a mostly Armenian area. Many employees at the store speak Armenian. I don't look Armenian, and I evidently couldn't speak it back to her. So I don't know why she kept trying with me, but she did. Now she's getting mad at me. At this point, I still didn't know that she thought I was an employee. I panicked. I originally thought, since she looked frail, that she needed help putting the blanket back into the case. I tried to help, and she got mad, yelled at me, and yanked the blanket and the case for me. I finally give up. I didn't know if she would understand me, but I tried anyways. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you want. I know the woman at the register speaks Armenian, but I'm sorry I couldn't help. And I sat back down on the couch, facing away from her. I felt the clear case smack me, as I thought. She turned away to go to the register. and then again, and again. And then she said,
"Look at me."
and the plastic hit me again, and oh my god, she's actually freaking hitting me with a clear case. She was initially sliding it along the back of the couch and bumping it into me. Now, I originally thought she needed help putting the blanket back into the case because she looked very frail. Also, from the looks of it, she was using the couch as an aid to hit me with the plastic. But oh no, she was mad enough to summon the strength to start swinging the case down onto me from above. It was a pretty big blanket case, as big as herself. I was awkward and depressed, and I didn't know how to react appropriately. This was my attempt. Stop hitting me, please.
"No, look at me."
No, thank you.
"You look at me."
And she went from somewhat letting the case fall onto me to straight up hitting me pretty hard with it, and then she disappeared. I'm safe, I thought, until she came back with another employee. The blanket was also now back in the case, so I literally, to this very moment, have no idea what she wanted my help for. I heard them coming from behind, and the older woman suddenly switched from Armenian to full-on English. I'm sure for me to hear her insults. Went something like this.
"And this woman here on the couch, she did not help me. She is an awful employee. She doesn't know how to do anything. Yes, her right here."
My family goes to this Goodwill a lot, and the employees know us well. The employee came up from behind to see who I was, and her face dropped. Looked absolutely horrified when she saw it was me. I didn't think that the employee saw her hitting me with the case, but she started on the old woman. "You were hitting her with the case?"
"No, not hitting. She was looking at..."
She said something in Armenian.
"And she's not even an employee."
Back to Armenian while showing off her blue apron, then pointing at me.
"You can't hit anyone here like that."
Mad in Armenian.
"Apologize."
The lady looked at me for a moment before apologizing with a smile like nothing even happened before wandering off. The employee checked on me briefly and I told her I was fine. I was suddenly shaken up by the situation and got up to tell my family. They were nearby the whole time, but somehow none of them noticed the entire situation. I'm pretty sure that the employee wasn't going to say anything about the woman hitting me until she saw that it was me, with the way she suddenly snapped at the older woman. I'm told that employees in retail are usually lenient with older people, no matter how rude they can get. It's messed up, and I feel bad for retail employees for the crap they go through. But I find it kind of funny that it looked like no one was apparently going to stop this old lady from smacking someone with plastic, employee or customer. Hey, don't worry, Redditor, I'm sure most of us would have freaking RKO'd the... I'm kidding, don't RKO random old ladies. Unless they're, doing something that would make an RKO an appropriate reaction. This story's called Lady Grabs Me by the Collar in Walmart. I worked at PetSmart during most of my undergraduate degree. We were in a strip mall type area, as most are, which ended with our store pretty much right in a massive Walmart parking lot. This was great when we needed supplies like Sharpies for writing codes on the fish bags or something like that. It wasn't uncommon that I would run over on my break to buy an energy drink or lunch or something for the store. On this day in 2012, I was being really dumb. It was finals week and I was running on 2 hours of sleep for the last 5 days in a row, completely on autopilot. Our uniform at the time was khaki pants and a light blue colored shirt with PetSmart on the back in huge red letters. We also had just gotten headsets. I went over to pick up a small whiteboard for my department and completely forgot to not only take off my work shirt, but my headset as well. I tried to stuff it in my pocket as best I could, but anyone who knows ladies' dress pants knows that was not happening. But I was already in the store by the time I realized, so I decided to rush and hope it would be okay. So I'm crouched down, digging through the cheap whiteboards on the bottom shelf, trying to find one that isn't broken, and suddenly I'm knocked on my booty. This woman grabbed my collar, right above the big PetSmart logo, and had pulled me over. I turned to look at her and said, "Excuse me? You alright?" My retail brain was still on, and I also thought maybe she'd grab me to keep from falling or something. I don't know. I was pretty out of it. She starts shouting about the lack of good employees these days. She was maybe in her 60s, small-framed, and loud. This is when I realized and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here actually." I pointed at the logo on my back. She goes off about how I'm clearly a manager, pointing at my headset. By now, I'm clutching the whiteboard and trying to leave. I again apologized and said, "No, I work at the pet store across the way," and pointed at the small logo on my name tag. I think she took this to mean I worked at the pet department in Walmart. After a couple of minutes of arguing while I backed away and managed to make it halfway to the register, she asked for my manager. I told her, "His name is Steven. He works at PetSmart. If you go over there, you can talk to him." I thought she got it finally because she stormed off. I paid for my things and went back across the way. It wasn't until an hour later, but she came in. She asked the cashier for the manager, while I spied from a couple aisles over. She actually tried to make a complaint about me not helping her at our sister store. My manager essentially laughed her off and told her he couldn't do anything about what I did on my breaks. She left, threatening to call corporate, but I never heard anything. I can only assume she called Walmart corporate to make the complaint. You know how you get kids to do things by giving them the illusion of choice? Maybe we can get the Karens to stop being so stupid if we give them the illusion of victory. Because, us being the more mature people of the earth, we know that they're not really winning, so we can live in satisfaction that they're stupid and we're outsmarting them. What do you guys think? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.